was the Talking Alternative Radio Encore broadcast. We hope you
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc, and streaming live on facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. We talk comics, movies, TV, pop culture, all the fun stuff you love to talk about. Tonight we got a great show. I'm your host, Michael Dolce. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, who is solo in the second box, Mr. Hassan Godwin. Lord of the Radio.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
You really want that to be a thing.
That is, I am the Lord of the Radio. I worked really hard to steal that. I mean, earn that title.
You can watch us anytime on Facebook. You can watch us on YouTube /Secrets of the Sire. Get us on iHeartRadio, iTunes. I want to give a shout out to our patrons this week. We actually neglected to do that last week, but you know, what are you going to do?
That's your fault.
No, it is.
I blame you.
You're 100% right. Jeff Gomez last week was so riveting.
Yes.
He gave us Spider-Man.
It's Jeff's fault.
He gave us Spider-Man Wolverine movie news. He gave us the dissection and disruption of Star Wars Last Jedi. He gave us the Disney Fox merger talk.
He cracked a lot of
He gave so much that we forgot our patrons. Brought to you by our beloved patrons. We have dedicated fans. Einar Peterson. Actually, he's more than a dedicated fan. He is an Uber fan now.
Yeah.
Matt Byer, Ashley Haikai, our program director, Stephanie Dolce, executive producer, Steve Hovecki, Brian Phillips, and Christina Gillen. Our Uber fans, Christina Dolce and Einar Peterson. Go check out Einar Peterson's Kickstarter page. He's doing a bunch of Kickstarters. They're really cool.
He's got Kickstarters on a Kickstarter page?
Yeah, he's doing a lot of Kickstarter.
How do people do that?
I don't know.
Why would you put that there?
Well, why wouldn't you put it on a Kickstarter? I know, sarcasm. Lost on me. So we are talking. We got a couple things actually. This is pretty.
Yeah,
cool.
we're not talking anything yet.
We got Newsarama's Chris Arrant is going to be on.
Okay.
Actually, it's Arrant. I did it last time, didn't I?
Yes.
But I think Arrant is more fancy, so I'm gonna.
It's not his name, but you know.
I'm gonna advocate on air that he changes the pronunciation of his last name.
Okay, and that'll all tie in. It'll be a theme. It's like foreshadowing.
Exactly.
Right,
exactly.
Excellent. Well done.
He's gonna run down the must-read comic book storylines plus the must-read comic book tie-ins to the movies. I mean, there's Black Panther, Infinity War, Dark Phoenix, Ant-Man, Aquaman, Venom. I mean,
everything is meta now.
There is a ton of stuff that the comic book industry can tie into. And he's going to be on. He's a good guy. He's been on before, and we're going to have a lot of fun. But first,
it's a lot of build-up.
We are going to start with the game changer that could be Black Panther. So, Black Panther, first reactions. Stars and critics praise one of Marvel's best. This is from Entertainment Weekly. With the red carpet premiere of Black Panther, come the first responses over social media, while full-length reviews are under embargo until the film's actual theatrical debut, which is next month. The consensus is clear. Long live the king. Let me give you a couple of tweets from some famous folks. Donald Glover, Black Panther was beautiful. We should keep celebrating who's out there. He was a big fan of it. James Gunn praised Coogler's extraordinary work. And then we had some people in general that just praised it. Black Panther.
Wow.
No.
Do you get cancer from watching?
Cancer. It's
Cancer.
Yeah. I should wear my.
I don't even know what that is. That sounds worse.
Shirt. Yeah. So
that sounds worse than cancer.
Well, it's not good. It's not good. Whatever it is. you don't want cancer. You want to avoid cancer. That would be the good thing, right?
That is the goal for most humanity.
Black Panther, not Black Cancer, is incredible, kinetic, purposeful. She put it in her tweet. I don't even know how she did this, but she did. A superhero movie about why representation and identity matters and how tragic it is when those things are denied to people. The first MCU movie about something real.
Wow.
Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger had me weeping, and he's the villain. David Elrich tweeted Black Panther's like a Marvel movie, but better. The action is predictably right. The action
isn't it a Marvel movie?
The action is predictably awful, but this is the first MCU film that has an actual sense of identity, history, and musicality.
But wait a minute, how could it be like a Marvel movie but better if it is a Marvel movie?
Ryan Coogler knocked it out of the park. Some great sequences presented in single take shot. That's Peter Skyretta.
So people like it. So you're basically saying people like it.
Mike Ryan, I know who's a comic book penciler. Black Panther is not screwing around. By far the most political Marvel chapter, to the point I had to remind myself this is a Marvel movie. Black Panther's a movie with a lot to say. Also Michael B. Jordan. Travell Anderson, this is an interesting one. Black Panther is a love letter about blackness to a world that often ghettoizes it without realizing that it is on black backs that this planet revolves.
Okay.
What do you think of that one?
Why do you ask me what I think of that one?
Because you can see you on camera now. We can see you on camera. You got the box to yourself.
I have not seen Black Panther, so I cannot comment as to whether or not that statement, which is loaded, which is a trigger loaded.
You noticed that one, right?
Yeah,
you noticed that one.
It's a fish on a hook, basically.
Oh,
so
baby.
I'm not walking into that obvious trap.
Yeah, I know. It really was. It really was.
And then you tried to use the bait to bait me into.
Yes. Absolutely.
I know.
There is no question about that.
Yeah. I don't trust humanity. It's not you I don't trust. It's everyone. So that's why I didn't walk into it.
Well, here's the thing. Great question. Do we trust this kind of stuff? I mean, here's the thing, right?
3 words.
Yeah?
The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Everybody said The Last Jedi was brilliant.
Yeah.
The weeks leading up to The Last Jedi coming out. And The Last Jedi made me really think how much longer I wanted to live on the face of this earth while I was watching it. I could die today and then this pain would go away. So, obviously, I'm going to take all of this stuff with a grain of salt. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a big movie. Will I enjoy it? Will I watch it? Will I think it's too on the nose? Will I think it's too skewed the other way? Which it tends to happen where movies like kind of overcompensate or overcorrect, and it's just an unfortunate byproduct of a society that does not have full representation for everyone, fairness and representation, not yet. And a lot of people are chafing at the exploits or the attempts to correct that or overcorrect, or they consider it an overcorrect or correct or correction through malfeasance and a number of different ways
they look at it.
There. Well, I
see what you're doing.
I pay for them prior to the show, and it's expensive. It's very expensive. Yeah.
You know, we didn't really do, and we will do one later for Ant-Man and Wasp. We didn't do a trailer, truth or trash for Black Panther yet.
No.
Kind of, think when those trailers were coming out, there was just so many other things to talk about at the time, so we didn't.
Well, there wasn't much to the trailer. It was a bunch of, a bunch of people in these really cool costumes, and some really serious hip hop music behind it, and then it stopped.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And then we saw T'Challa, and he was the Black Panther. Boom, and then it said coming soon.
I will say this:
that's how you crack that trailer open.
I am just so impressed by the visuals of what I've seen so far, with the exception of maybe the car chase in New York looks a little
because it looks a little CG.
Yeah,
a little old Spider-Man CG. But But I mean, you come to expect that. I'm just hoping what I'm hoping for the most. This probably sound a little weird. I'm hoping to see it and not be embarrassed.
That does sound weird, actually.
What I'm talking about that is not necessarily that I would be embarrassed by the movie or by the characters or the actors in it. I might watch it and it would be it's like when liberals watch a really, really liberal television show. Okay. And it's like, oh, this is gluttonous, Okay. Like this is such
no one ever watches a political program who supports that political program and thinks that.
I sometimes
they get affirmed, but that's affirmation. That's like a Republican watching Fox News. They will never be like, "Well, this is too Fox News."
Yeah, and that's
never
what makes my
people watching Rachel Maddow are not going to be like, "Well, I feel too liberal for this right now."
No, I don't feel too liberal about something I'm watching. It's just like sometimes something It's usually not in the news. Like the news is separate. The person's giving you the news, and if they lean politically the way you lean, they will interpret the news the way you interpret it, and so you'll be fine. Sometimes in entertainment, especially when the people writing the entertainment aren't necessarily liberal or necessarily conservative, so that when they exalt in these ideologies, they kind of overdo it, or it gets it's saccharine. It becomes saccharine after a while. It's like, this is so liberal that it's embarrassing. There's a couple of shows on television now that are like, geez, okay.
So you're just hoping that
I'm hoping it's a story.
Right.
I hope it celebrates this particular culture, and I hope it celebrates the fact that this is not a thing that's typically seen.
Sure.
But I hope it doesn't lean on that to the point where that's pretty much all it is. You haven't seen this. It's like it's kind of the equivalent of how Bryan Singer's original X-Men was.
Sure.
It was like, it's an okay story, it's okay costumes and stuff, but you haven't seen X-Men, so that's what's going to get us over.
Right.
And then just keep selling the fact that this is live action comic books.
Are you talking about this from a political angle? I mean, are you hoping that it's not too over politicized? Are you hoping that it's?
I don't care how I don't care how black it is. I don't care how politicized it is. I hope it's good to the point where all those things are things I'm not sitting there going, well, it's very black, you know, and we do need it. It's like, okay, so
I think there's something to be said. I'm
hoping it's not the new Ghostbusters, where it was like, but it's women. You know, we don't have to make it funny. The whole point is that
we have a ton of funny, really wonderful, funny comedian actresses.
Yes, which we won't give them anything funny to say or do.
We're going to write up very poor scripts.
Right. And then we're basically going to keep selling the fact that it's women.
Right.
And it's women doing it, and that's what makes this different.
Right.
And then, you watch it and you're like,
from what we've seen,
I guess I'm sexist now because this is horrendous.
Right.
I really want to scrub my eyes.
It looks, first of all, it looks very visually just stunning, right? I mean, the Wakandan.
So did The Last Jedi.
I
am a Star Wars fan.
I had questions. No, but I'm saying this is from my point of view, right? From my point of view, The Last Jedi. No, The Last Jedi.
The two of us here.
No, I agree that, but from my point of view, The Last Jedi did not look visually stunning in the trailers.
That's how you feel. But I was giving you my point on how I felt about The Last Jedi.
Okay, understood.
Right.
But I'm talking now.
You're always talking.
Mike view.
That's the problem.
The problem with this new tech. No, it's just and
nice.
It's even worse. Is I can just put myself right in the front.
Why don't you do that from now on? And I'll slip out early.
No.
When during the break, we'll record me going, I disagree. And then I'll just leave.
Best show ever. We're going to get rave reviews.
Yeah.
Like people are going to be retweeting that.
That second chair finally in line. You got him in line.
No, what I was going to say was from my point of view, it looks visually stunning already. So I'm already kind of enthralled by it.
Mm-hmm. It looks very comic book. It looks successfully comic book.
It does, but not in a way where it doesn't look unrealistic either. There's a lot of
the standards of Marvel that Marvel's been giving us for the last few years.
I mean, so in that regard, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm actually gonna not disagree. I'm gonna hope against what you said, and we get a really good movie out of it rather than Star Wars: Last Jedi. Another good movie.
I didn't say it was going to be bad. I'm just saying the lead up to The Last Jedi was equally optimistic, you know? And people were saying it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen.
Yes.
Even George Lucas said it was beautifully made.
Yes.
Which was a little dig.
Yes.
That people who knew were like, wait a minute, he didn't say it was a good movie. He just said it was beautifully made. Like, that's not something a director would say to another director.
Well, another Marvel movie.
She's got a really pretty face.
Another Marvel movie that was... Well, it wasn't beautifully made. It was just a really nice movie. Came out with a new trailer this week. We run it through the trailer, truth or trash, when we come back.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you stuck in a rut? Negative thoughts, feelings, and conversations got you down? Hi, I'm Noreen Sumter, the Potentiator. Tune in every Tuesday, 9 to 10 Eastern Time, and listen for new ideas on my show, Beyond Potential. Live life your way on talkradio.nyc.
Who do you want to connect with?
Are you an entrepreneur or intrapreneur looking to build your following?
Welcome to our show.
Follow Me Friday with Joan
and Priya.
Tune in every Friday at noon Eastern
on talkradio.nyc.
We're your digital connectors. Woo woo! What's that?
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
Forever Night TV series
Yes.
as well, too. I've never even heard of it. I have no idea what that is.
You don't know.
No, I don't know Forever Night.
Good Lord.
I don't know. I used to watch other things, when I was a kid.
Well, I'm sure that information is useful. You're
Have
a
you ever
Smurf
seen the
guy.
movie Blown Away?
Nicole
Yeah.
Eggert and
Yeah.
the other girl from something. She ended up on 90210.
There was another girl in that?
You're just making this weird now, man.
Yeah.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc. Call in, because quite frankly, we welcome the debate, 877-480-4120, unless you've downloaded us on iTunes, in which case you can't call in because it's a podcast.
Or unless you disagree with us.
It'd be awesome if you call in at that point. Yeah, no, we're on iTunes /Secrets of the Sire.
We're everywhere.
Going to do a little shameless plugging. My new comic book series, The Mainstream, is in previews today, so you can order a copy. It's the first ever co-created, creator-owned book by Talent Caldwell, Superman, Fathom, Wildcats. He's back. He's doing a little bit of the interior art. Most of the interior art is Tony Moy. He's doing all the covers, and he and I co-created it along with Darren Sanchez. So go check it out. I will give you the order code as well, too. So go bug your local comic book store to order it because,
Congratulations.
well, thank you. We're trying to,
I don't really mean that, but
I know. But as long as you say it,
yeah.
I can, as long as it's capturable.
Right.
You know?
All you have to do is cut the second part, and everything is
right. STL, that's Sam Tom Lewis 076662. That is our order code.
Wow. Nice.
So go ahead and bug your local comic book stores. We got some good feedback coming from folks. Tom Martin said maybe it helps if the studio sticks with one director from start to finish. I agree with that. Ryan Coogler too he's just everything he's made to this point has just been
like
so
Creed
quality.
and some of these other movies that
I feel like this is the one movie too where you can get an A-list director like Coogler, who has vision, who has a point, and you can kind of let him.
Well, it's the same with James Gunn, right? What he did with
Yeah. In a completely different fashion, but I know exactly what you're saying. Because
Right.
Guardians of the Galaxy does not have the same level of, okay, if Guardians stunk, Marvel will be like, okay, it's all right. They can rest on Cap, they can rest on Iron Man, Thor, the Avengers. They're fine. Spider-Man's their big gun. You know what I mean?
I don't know if I 100% agree with that, but I kind of see your point on that. But I mean, if it failed, it would have been a crack in the armor.
It would have been a crack,
and it would probably brought the end of Phase 3, which is where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
It would have probably brought that crashing in much sooner, because now people would be like, "Oh, Marvel, the amazing House of Hits is not infallible,
Right.
And so they can. And I don't know if Ant-Man would have done really well if people would have had the good faith for Ant-Man,
Sure,
or even Doctor Strange. So I think there was a lot riding on Guardians, and also it was another really tough nut to crack.
Yeah.
And like, okay, this is not obvious comic book stuff. It's
Sure.
not, capes and tights and superheroes and, alien. It's not. It doesn't even take place on Earth. It's not even anybody else we know. We can't even have really real cameos from any other characters in it. So it really kind of is the same as Black Panther in groundbreaking accomplishments, or the things, the list of things it has to break.
Yeah.
In
Does
ground.
Black Panther have that same kind of pressure?
Well, it does, and it doesn't. I mean, the character's been tried already, so we've seen him. So we've seen T'Challa, we've seen Black Panther. So we don't have to. We don't have to. It doesn't have to do what Doctor Strange did, where you had to introduce a new character and then do an origin, and then get us into the entire world of the Doctor Strange mysticism. But it does kind of have to. It has a lot of baggage it has to get over. It has a lot of baggage to carry. It has a lot of things, and it's already going to suffer some from the overwrought marketing, the tantalizing marketing of this is an
tantalizing is a much better word.
Because they're going to because it's going to be overwrought. They're going to overdo it. They're going to overdo that aspect of it, and that's what I was saying before.
So
yeah.
Because this is the thing. So
isn't that what you usually say? Is that it's overdone?
I can say that. No, but honestly, like I don't feel like they're throwing any of that in anyone's face. I don't feel like they're over.
Do you feel that they're not doing that because you're excited about it?
Well, but I think I wouldn't be excited about it if they were throwing it in my face.
Do you think that you would?
I can completely see.
You would register that as it being thrown in your face.
I can completely see why someone like Travell Anderson would say this is a love letter about blackness to a world that often ghettoizes it without realizing it, that it's built on black backs. I can completely see why this is. I mean, I haven't seen the movie yet, but I can completely see from the trailers and the imagery and things like that. I can completely see it as like, okay, this is really this can speak to a people. But from me, who has no connection, having an Italian and Polish background, I don't. It doesn't speak to me in that way, but it speaks to me in like, wow, these look like developed characters. These look
the same
like
as Wonder Woman.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Right. So
these look the world is lush and vivid.
Didn't we chafe at how the marketing of Wonder Woman was so skewed into girl power, and that this is this never been done before. Another it's a female superhero at the forefront of whatever. Even though we've had Supergirl, we've had a number of other things that have come out before.
Yeah.
So and we've done an entire show on how maybe they shouldn't push it that way. Maybe they shouldn't market it that way. So this is kind of being done the same way.
Yeah.
And so, but you're more sympathetic to it. You're more interested in it. It has captured your imagination a lot more successfully than, say, the Wonder Woman thing. So you can see
I'm just as excited to see this movie as I was to see Wonder Woman, and I was equally excited to see both. To be honest,
we were critical of how Wonder Woman was being sold in much the same manner.
I was critical of it after it came out. I was critical of the response is you can't say anything bad about Wonder Woman because it's such an icon for feminism and it's a movement and this and that. That's what I was critical of.
Don't you think it leads to that? Don't you think overemphasizing the otherness? The celebration of the otherness.
People are sheep.
But isn't your main argument about it that it's not being sold? The diversity aspect is not being sold right to the people. It's being overdone.
Are we talking about Wonder Woman or talking about Black Panther? Right?
Either one. That's diversity.
I don't think the marketing leading up to either was what I would describe as
the Heartland Brewery
agenda-driven or diversity. Oh no, okay, but that's not the movie's fault. The Heartland,
but it supported it.
The Alamo Drafthouse only screening an all-female version
I got the franchise wrong.
Heartland Brewery's like downtown.
Yeah,
it's
I go there all the time. It's like one of my favorites.
I just think I don't think that it. The movie wasn't being marketed that way. How people chose to celebrate the movie that's a completely different story. But the marketing itself, they weren't going out there being like, it wasn't like the Spice Girls was playing, over Wonder Woman walking out in the battlefield there. You know what I mean? Like they were basically.
Well, I'm saying how the movie was sold, not how the movie was how the character was portrayed.
I'm saying right now, the movie itself, Wonder Woman, and the movie Black Panther itself. Don't get me wrong. I see how people can be excited about it if you're from an African American descent. You can be solely connected to it on a level that I will not be, and that's okay. But I'm saying there's enough in this marketing where I'm looking at it going, there's enough to want me to go see this movie, and boy, that looks really cool. Like, I'm not trying to build street cred here. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm okay, guys, I'm okay. No, I'm looking at it going, this looks like a cool movie. And that's what I want to go see.
Tell us that you're woke.
Right, exactly. Right.
I'm woke.
I'm not.
I'm woke. I'm going to go see it. I'm woke.
No, exactly.
I've been woke for so long. I want to go to sleep again.
I'm not going to come out like, oh, God, there's so many movies that are popping in my head now. Oh, like if you saw Atlanta, it's not a movie, TV show. Donald Glover has a whole episode, where he's in like a white liberal party. And it's just like, it's, and like, it was a white guy, like a white older rich guy who married a black woman. He says, I don't want to quote it incorrectly because that'll cost me my entire podcast. But it's epic and amazing. It's epic and amazing. So no, I'm not trying to be that guy. Who
You're just really excited. I'm just saying that the similarities are there. There are glaring similarities in how, not how necessarily it's being pushed, but how the marketing is trying to very subtly skew it.
Yeah.
And some things get a pass and some things don't.
Yeah, I think this gets a pass because it looks like a cool movie. I think if it was, here's at the end of the day, right? They're not. I mean, there's not a blatant message in the marketing. And look, there can't be. I mean, marketing is marketing for a reason, right? It's casting a wide net. It's trying to cast a wide net. So we'll judge it when we actually see it. I think there's value in that. I think there's. But again, I'm looking at this. Not one shred of me is threatened. Not one shred of me is thinking politics when I'm watching it. Now, again, the reviews are it's a very political movie, and maybe it is. But maybe it is what I'm hoping it's going to be, and what I kind of see from it. Maybe it's very political to a particular struggle, just shedding light on a particular region, a particular culture, without kind of crossing that boundary into being overly politicized, where you walk out going like, all right, I just watched I just read a 2.5 hour pamphlet. I don't feel that from the marketing. I don't feel that from the visuals. I don't feel that because it's a Marvel movie too. So if it gets a little, we talked about Get Out. I loved Get Out. I thought Get Out was great. I think when we were talking about it, you found more deeper, politics in it than I did. I thought that it was, the alternate endings and things like that, where he could have really, could have really beat you over the head with the politics angle and the real, and I kind of enjoyed it from, it's making strong points, it's making good points, but overall it's an entertaining horror movie. This is what I'm hoping for with the
main job of any movie is to entertain.
Exactly.
So yeah,
if you entertain, if you can sell something,
but things that are genuinely entertaining can be ruined in the way they are marketed.
Yes.
So it doesn't. And then that'll affect how open-minded you are when you go in to actually view it.
Yeah.
So I mean, damage can be done regardless of how well a movie was put together.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm just saying that. When I see something that's a little too, it's like having a birthday cake for dinner.
Yeah.
It's like.
So you're just wary.
Yeah,
right?
when you're a kid, you're like that's a sign of getting older, isn't it? Right? When your kid's like birthday cake for dinner, but then when you're older, you look at a birthday cake and go, oh, it looks a little rich, and that's how you know you've matured. Like,
is that the word we're going to use?
Yeah.
We're going to use matured. Yeah. All right. When we come back, Sam had a really good question about Black Panther, and we'll ask our guest as well too what he thinks the best comic book movie tie-ins will be on the racks when we come back.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you into comics, movies, and pop culture at large? What about music and TV? Then you're in for a treat. This is Michael Dolce, your host on TalkingAlternative.com. I've been professionally writing comic books, screenplays, and music articles for almost 15 years. Catch my show, Secrets of the Sire, at its new primetime slot, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and get the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. For more info, go to secretsofthesire.com.
Talking Alternative Radio, 24 hours a day.
I used to work for one of these news websites. I mean, you would basically scour news, find what was the news about that news.
Don't want them to just steal news from other sites?
Oh, well, you're not stealing, you're quoting. It's much different.
Oh, okay.
Much different.
All right. I'm going to quote your car after we leave this evening.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We're talking comics, movies, TV, pop culture, all the stuff that you love. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc, streaming live, facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. Go look us up on iTunes, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, all the places that you got that you can find us. And we're talking Black Panther. We're talking about a big movie season coming up, and we will get to Trailer Truth or Trash on Ant-Man Wasp. Next segment. We haven't forgotten about that either. But I want to welcome my guest right now, Chris Arrant from Newsarama.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Very, very good. You are going to give us, you are our expert, and it actually saddens me to know that I'm not the expert on the comic book world anymore. Because I used to live and breathe going to the comic book store, and then I had kids, and now I go there once a month now. It's like, if that.
Well, you can still be an expert on those comics.
That's right. That's right. The ones I go to once a month. People are like, did you read that issue? I'm like 5 issues behind. I'm like 5 episodes behind on TV too. But what are you gonna do? So, Chris, we're talking. Let's kind of continue and our talk a little bit. You got Mike and Hassan here. What are your thoughts on the Black Panther movie? And then, can you give us what should we be reading leading up to that movie?
Okay, for the Black Panther, there's going to be a swell of reviews, official reviews coming out. The official embargo, when people can post full reviews, is next Thursday, and you should be able to get a fuller picture, including here at Newsarama. We'll have at least one review, possibly more. As for the comics tie-ins, Marvel's done a really good job with this movie rollout of doing companion miniseries that retell the origin and kind of expand on it, as well as really putting a lot of marketing and creative efforts behind the ongoing series that's being done now. That series, some people haven't really tuned into it, but it's a really good narrative that kind of explores the idea of Black Panther as a king, and it kind of deals with that in a modern, real way of should basically the rule of a king, and if that's better or worse than a democracy. Some people might think that's too political, but it also has room for a lot of action. They recently had a storyline with Claw that did a really good job with artist Leonard Kirk, kind of showing how cool Claw can be. And I hope some of that is also seen in the movie that comes out in 2 weeks.
And that's Michael B. Jordan's character, right? I think that is, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he's Claw. So I mean, and from what we're reading now, his performance is like absolutely like breathtaking. From the early reviews, people are really focusing on him a lot. So I think that would be really good. Black Panther's not the only movie that's coming out, though. We're rolling into Phase 3 of Marvel movies in general, and the big one that's coming out is Ant-Man. No, the big one that's coming out is Infinity War. What every time there's been a big Marvel event movie, they tend to do it in the comics. You had like Civil War, and then you had Civil War 2, which was kind of manufactured just to kind of ride the coattails, so to speak. Yeah. Is there like an Infinity War redux? Are we doing Infinity War 3 this year, or what's going on with the actual print comics?
They haven't said what the actual name will be, but currently they're building up two separate kind of storylines. One is they have a really good Thanos series right now that's having the modern-day Thanos meet a future version of himself that's kind of like King Conan, where he's done it all, he's beat everybody, and it kind of juxtaposes how this Thanos now that wants to conquer, kind of meets up someone that has conquered. And then at the same time, the Guardians of the Galaxy series is kind of transforming into a lead-in for an event called, right now it's called Infinity Countdown Prime. It's a lot of words, but it has infinity in it.
Countdown Prime. Wow.
They say this is an event, but it's also building to a larger event. And it happens to count down until May, which is the same time the movie comes out.
What a coincidence.
I assume we'll see more then. But for really hardcore fans, there is a tease that the Infinity Watch will return on Free Comic Book Day with Adam Warlock, Patrol.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I could see that happening. This will be the first comic book season where no Brian Michael Bendis at Marvel. What's the impact going to be at Marvel in your opinion? And what's the first DC book? Because we still don't know what he's going to work on.
Well, actually, we do. His return to DC, his first work is going to be in April. He's doing a story with Jim Lee inside Action Comics 1000.
It's good.
That's confirmed to be his first story for DC since he worked on them when he was just starting out.
I'm going to call it now. It's a hit.
15 years ago. And he, just this morning, he didn't confirm, but he teased doing a run on Batman that would be at least
another hit,
equal to what he did on Daredevil.
That's what everyone wants him to do. Everyone wants him to do Batman. Like as soon as you heard like Brian Michael Bendis is leaving for DC, you're like, he's gonna write Batman.
Yeah, because his Daredevil he's been doing Daredevil like Batman.
Finish line goal. Some people took it as him taking over the Batman title from Tom King, and I don't necessarily see that as the only option they have. They could have him do Detective Comics.
Sure.
They could relaunch a third major Batman title, which they've done in the past with All-Star Batman and Batman Dark Knight. And it is convenient how a number of the people that Brian became popular with at Marvel in terms of the artists have all, well, not all, but some have migrated over to DC already, so you could see some reunions.
All right.
And also some former Marvel exclusive artists who aren't anymore, who might kind of team up with him on a DC project.
I would love to see him pair up with Greg Capullo, though. Like that would be,
yeah.
I mean, that would just be, and that would be back to his Sam and Twitch days too, because I know, I don't know if Capullo was working on the book the same time he was, but they both kind of gained notoriety. I know Capullo had done X-Force before then. Yes, I'm geeking out. This is me. This is the '90s comic book nerd that I am.
That's where I know Capullo from. Because I was reading it when I was younger. Like, why isn't anybody talking about this guy?
I know
this guy's an amazing artist.
He was amazing with Fabian Nicieza, former guest of the show.
In a time where there was a whole bunch of Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld clones.
And then he moved over to McFarlane, and he just kind of blew up. And then he disappeared for a while, and then he drew Batman. It's like
because I guess he made a lot of money, and he was able to coast, and then he came back to it. I don't know. So I don't know the story.
What I'm told is like he worked behind the scenes a lot on McFarlane's toy project. Did a lot of character designs. Like he showed me some great WWE toy designs for when they did a project. So there's untold amounts of like unpublished Capullo art that no one's ever seen besides Todd and whatever companies he's pitching to do toys from.
Wow, he's just unbelievable. So that's it. There's no other movies coming out. There's nothing else exciting coming out. There's this Dark Phoenix movie, and there's this whole Fox Disney merger that's happening. Let's start with Dark Phoenix. It's weird, right, though, Chris? Because this is kind of like they're almost like chugging ahead with these movies, even though the train is stopping in a few months. What's your take on this film, and what's Marvel doing now that they've got the properties back? I'm sure they're going to start actually making X-Men comics again, right?
Well, I wouldn't speak too soon. Like some people speak of these mergers as kind of like already happened, but even Disney CEO himself, Bob Iger, said it could take up to 18 months. And there's been 3 major mergers in the past 2 years that didn't happen just because they were afraid of basically government regulation.
Wow.
So that's why like everyone's taking kind of internally they have to take a slow course, because if they begin planning for Wolverine to show up in Avengers, and then it doesn't happen, because there's a lot of money spent.
Disney's technically cornering the market,
right,
on this genre,
right?
And that's almost like a monopoly status.
Right. But this is what makes Chris such a great guest, though, because he brings that up. Meanwhile, I'm like, I want to see Wolverine. Show me Spider-Man.
I'm sure they talked about it. Like before they announced that Sony had come to an agreement with Marvel to use Spider-Man, like he said that there was no talks about doing Spider-Man. And then like a month later, this deal just came out, like fully formed, like just magically. And then he later said, when there was discussions, that they basically planned, well, the Marvel Studios movies will go this way if we don't go get Spider-Man, and the Marvel Studios movies will go this way if they do get Spider-Man. So I imagine at some point that he'll have kind of like 2 paths kind of generally planned out, just in case they do get the rights back. But it's not like they need to be in any real hurry.
Yeah. Our guest last week, Jeff Gomez, who's got some good inside info. He's the head of Starlight Runners, a transmedia company. He thinks the first movie that's coming out is Wolverine Spider-Man, with Hugh Jackman reprising the role yet again.
Very boldly stated that.
That was an exclusive, by the way.
Yeah.
It was an exclusive. Yeah. We haven't gotten the hits yet.
We
haven't gotten the hits yet, but we will.
Everyone, you're welcome.
Chris, what are you hearing? Is that something you think could be on the horizon as well, too?
I definitely think it's possible. Not just Wolverine and Spider-Man, but also Hugh Jackman going back on his basically swearing that he's never doing another Wolverine movie. Like if people go back in history, they'll see that basically, like every time he signed on for an X-Men movie, he only signs it on for one at a time.
Yeah.
And for the past
so he has to renegotiate every time.
Each one is going to be the end of it.
Yeah.
Like the end of his career. And like it's kind of saying, well, I'm going to swear off donuts. Like I'm on a diet. But then like a week later, like
when I said I wasn't going to do a donut,
maybe.
I didn't do donuts.
You went to croissants?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, they were flakier.
That was a lateral move.
I still made the change. Damn it.
Wolverine started the brown costume at that point. Like, that's all he's doing.
And that's as far as his protest went.
What's DC got in the works comic book movie tie-in wise? I mean, they've only got Aquaman coming out, and Justice League they kind of brushed under the rug as quickly as possible. I mean, is there anything, or are they really, not as tied to the hip to the films as maybe Marvel is?
I think they're still trying to kind of figure out the formula that works for them. They had a formula that was successful in the 80s and 90s, and in the 2000s, then Marvel was really successful with the interconnected movies, and you saw DC and a Universal, the monster movies try the same thing, and I think like everybody but Marvel has basically found out how hard it is for that to work. I think DC are in the middle of trying to come up with a plan that works for how Warner Brothers works, and I think this is kind of a halfway point between the tightly interconnected movies of Marvel versus kind of the classic way that DC had kind of separate franchises that may be crossed over together. Okay, I think you can see a mixture of that. As of right now, the only DC movie coming out this year is the Aquaman movie, but the way they're filming that so like early, and they seem to have so much confidence in the director.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really have some high hopes for this, that it could really surprise people.
Yeah, I hope so. Chris, thank you so much for being on. Tell everyone what you got going on and where they can find you.
I'm at Newsarama 7 days a week, writing about comics, writing about movies based on comics, video games based on comics. Tomorrow, I'm writing a story on a cruise line based on comics. It's going to be really interesting for people. And I'm there, and I'm on Twitter under my name, Chris Arrant, and people can find me there or at Newsarama.
Awesome. Thank you so much. When we come back, Trailer Truth or Trash time, Ant-Man and Wasp.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Are you a conscious co-creator? Are you on a quest to raise your vibration and your consciousness? I'm Sam Leibowitz, your conscious consultant, and on my show, The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, we will touch upon all these topics and more. Listen live at our new time on Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's The Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity, Thursdays 12 noon on talkradio.nyc.
Are you feeling unhappy with your body, shape, or size? Ever feel out of control with food? I'm Elizabeth from Nourish the Soul, and on the show, you will uncover the root to these imbalances and discover a permanent solution to having a healthy relationship to food and your body. Join us every Thursday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on talkradio.nyc.
TalkingAlternative.com.
That might have been the best thing you've ever said, period. Like on the show. I mean, we're not even talking about like your opinions. They're okay. Segue. Boom.
Yeah.
That's where the money's made, my man.
You know what? Now I'm going to end every sentence with boom. Boom. And that's what I do.
Exactly.
Boom.
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 All right. That's enough. That's old already. This show doesn't work when we agree.
Secrets of the Sire.
Keep saying that, but you know. Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. I want to thank my guest, Chris Arrant. No, I forgot to completely ask him to change his name
Yeah, fail
to Arrant. I think Arrant has got more gravitas.
That's leaving a loose end in your story.
It's
You
true.
know, you didn't tie in the loose ends.
This is true.
You
Actually,
pulled a Ryan Johnson.
sequel.
Has to be a sequel.
We'll get him.
We can only hope if we do it in a sequel.
All right,
Or your novelization. Just put it in your novelization.
Yeah,
It fixes everything.
Right. Oh my God. There was this YouTube video about Last Jedi where the guy went into huge depth about everything that was in the art book and the concept book.
Yeah.
And all this stuff that got left out.
All this great stuff.
Oh my God.
And then I've seen entire vlogs on how great the novelization is going to be, which is still not out yet. It's not going to be out until March.
Yeah.
Now, when is it that you don't tie in the release of your novelization with the release of your movie? How often does that ever happen?
Well, basically, because they had to basically give the people writing the novel, they had to see the movie first because there was no plan.
Exactly.
Because they're basically like, well...
And when's the last time you've seen a director sit down with the author of the novelization of his movie going, yes, there's going to be things in this novel that I was not able to put in The Last Jedi. It's going to be really great.
Is that his accent? I've never actually heard
No, this is the accent I am giving him because I despise him.
It's like, that's like Boris. That's like Boris from...
Yes, yes. Moose and Square. Moose and Square. Okay.
All right, we promised this, and we kind of shoved it to the end because, quite frankly, how much do we care about Ant-Man?
You know what? I don't. It's one of those things. I don't care about it until it's happening. It's kind of like it's kind of like Daredevil.
Yeah.
You know, on Netflix. I don't really care about it until it's right in front of me. Or Stranger Things even. I'm not spending the entire year thinking about what's the next season of Stranger Things going to be.
Yeah.
And then a couple of weeks before the new one comes out, I watched the last season. I'm back into it. I watched that. It's big for a couple of weeks. It's the greatest thing for a little while, and it goes away again.
Yeah.
So Ant-Man's kind of in that category.
Really super enjoyed Ant-Man.
So did I.
Could have lived life without seeing it.
But that's how I feel about almost any movie I watch.
Could have figured out Civil War without seeing it as well, too. I mean, it had a greater impact because, you had Paul Rudd in Ant-Man and he was tiny. But I saw, it's funny, I saw Ant-Man after Civil War and had no problems, picking up that, his role.
It's just flavoring.
Right.
It's just, you're just the same with...
Paul Rudd is enjoyable. Like, I enjoy him.
Yeah, but it's the same with Doctor Strange. They're not trying to build mythologies with these particular characters.
Yeah.
But they're just trying to keep you in the game. They're trying to keep skin in the game while in between their big event movies.
Right.
And they've already spent their wads with Captain America, with Thor, and with and Iron Man years ago. Yeah. Iron Man his 3 movies were done years ago already. So they've got to keep us interested somehow.
So I mean, we can do a trailer truth or trash. Quite frankly, we just didn't have anything better to do.
Well, let's tell the audience that.
I just did.
They think that we're lazy.
No, it's not lazy. I mean, there's just this is the January segment.
What did you think of that trailer?
I thought it was just enjoyable. Like it's like, okay, cool. Paul Rudd's back. We'll go see it because what else are we doing?
What's a trailer supposed to do though? What else is it? What's supposed to happen?
I think it's not necessarily the trailer itself. I think it's the subject matter. The subject matter is supposed to make you excited. Like I'm excited for Black Panther with the trailers. Because I think it's like I said, I think it's a game changer. I think it's something that, you're going to see something that you haven't seen from Marvel yet, which, again, even if it's just a variation on what you have seen from Marvel, I think they're always, in a way, breaking something new and doing something new. And I think Black Panther kind of takes it up a notch a little bit, too. I think Ant-Man and Wasp was maybe the first movie where I'm sitting there saying, well, I hope those 2 crazy kids, I hope they're going to get together. I'm sure they'll get together. There'll be some cool enlarging things and shrinking things, and that seems to be the whole movie, right? It's like, let's shrink something like our building and walk away with it.
Yeah, but that's the whole...
And let's enlarge something.
That's like the gimmick of that's the conceit of the entire story.
That's the gimmick, though, and that's the thing. So it's not a bad gimmick.
Okay, yeah.
No, it's not a bad gimmick. It's just it's like, okay, cool.
I get what you're saying about that, and you're supposed to see something new to get you excited to go spend your money. But how often can they do that?
I got to be honest with you. If we did not host a comic book movie podcast every Wednesday night, I would wait for that one. I would wait for Ant-Man to come out.
Right.
Like on cable.
Okay.
Like
but that's how you
later.
feel about it. But do you think it's a failure? Or do you think it's a failure of a trailer, or not a great trailer, or trash of a trailer? Or do you just feel that you personally, Mike Dolce, are not super interested in this?
I'll answer this 2 ways, right? I will actually judge the trailer
the one way,
and say that for the gimmick that it gave us, it was neat, but it's not necessarily something we haven't seen before. So it did fail on that end, right? From a trailer, just a pure trailer.
So the second Guardians trailer was a failure.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was.
Because it showed you more of the same.
Yeah.
But if you were a fan of the original Guardians, wouldn't you want to be reassured from that trailer that you were going to get more of the same?
No, because if you're a fan of the Guardians, the reason you were a fan of the Guardians was it gave you something new and different. And then look, I'm not saying it's an easy job to follow that up with
once
something.
Guardians drops, it's no longer new and different.
Right.
It becomes part of the lexicon, becomes part of everything. So is it a marketable a thing to achieve, to show you in the trailer for Guardians 2?
Yeah.
In conjunction with the trailer for Ant-Man 2.
Right.
And this one it's called Ant-Man and Wasp.
Right.
Is it not also a preferable marketable decision to make sure that the audience knows they're going to get more of what they liked from the original one? If you're going to try to show me that I'm going to get more of the same of the original, how can you show me something different?
The only other question I had for it too, though, was does it mean they survived Infinity War then? I mean, it's coming out in July. I think
That
that's
is not an
another
answer
weird
to my
thing.
question.
No,
but
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, no, it's not an
Okay.
answer to your question. And,
Yeah.
and I
I just want to acknowledge you didn't answer my question
no,
before we move
I
on.
fully acknowledge that I did not answer your question. I didn't
okay.
say we have to move on.
You're gonna try to move on though. You're gonna try to take us past that.
I think that's it. It's.
I'm not thinking Infinity War is going to be the big wholesale, Walking Dead, Game of Thrones
Well, it's a part
kind
one,
of slaughter fest,
and it ends. I'm sure it ends on a way.
I'm sure it has to have some poignant, departures.
I just find it so odd then that Ant-Man's coming out after it though. I mean, I guess we've talked about it. The timeline doesn't have to happen at the same time. Like, I get it.
But after Infinity War, it's gonna come and it's just gonna go away, and then you're gonna have to wait a year.
Yeah.
I guess a year or 2 years.
No, just a year.
Just a
Sometime
year
next
for the
year.
next one,
Yeah,
right?
They filmed it together.
They're gonna want something to keep the skin in the game in the middle. They're not gonna
I
have
know.
anything.
No,
in the middle.
I agree with you 100%. I get it. I totally do.
And what else? It's not good. You're not going to want to put something out that's going to distract you from.
Yeah.
You're not going to want to put Thor Ragnarok there,
right?
Where it's going to be another big piece, set piece, or Guardians 3, right? Where it's going to be a completely big distraction from the tension that they're trying to build with. And like, what if Ant-Man and Wasp die in the second one? So that it's all right that they're in the middle of the first, in the between them.
Not for them.
None of them are real, so we'll be all right.
Yeah. Hey, we have had a terrific show. We've broken down Black Panther. I think it's going to be a game changer. Hassan thinks it's going to be a game changer. No, I didn't put those words in your mouth.
No, I think it will change the game. I just don't know what game is going to change.
Very, very well put. I will not answer that question either. Give us your thoughts. Go download us on iTunes, iHeart.
As we say.
Chime in. Appreciate everyone who joined in. Appreciate our guest, Chris Arrant from Newsarama. Go check it out. Again, I have a new book in stores. It's in previews right now. It's from myself and Talon Caldwell, along with Tony Moy, Darren Sanchez. It's called The Mainstream. It's from Zenoscope. Go bug your local comic book store to order it. It's Tal's first interior work in a long time, which is really cool. He doesn't draw the book fully, but his fingerprints are all over it. So Tony Moy actually does a bang-up job doing a lot of the interior art. Next week,
what could happen next week? What could be happening?
We have Mystery Box. We'll see you next week.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative